Well, I got to tell you, I am so rested. I literally did, well, 90% no church work while I was gone. I have to admit, maybe there was a 5 to 10% of an email I paid attention to or something I forgot to handle. And I may have done that. But I'm telling you, I went right back. Oh, you're going to be really proud of me because I'm proud of myself. One of the things I did while I was gone was delete 4,975 emails. Whoa! Holy smoke, did that feel good. I was so light after that. And now at least twice a day, I go in there and say, trash bin, trash bin, trash bin. Unsubscribe for the 95th time because they won't unsubscribe me. I keep doing it. They're not going to get a hold of me. Nope. I stay at about 43 emails. I'm so excited. New leash on life. So anyway, I just want to thank you all. And I want to thank our volunteers that make this service run every Sunday. And it ran without a hitch with our guest speakers, Stowe Good and Ruby. Oh my gosh, I'll get into that in just a minute with definitely with Ruby as well. But how blessed we are that we don't miss a hitch when I go into self-care mode and take off from the church. And I encourage you all to do that in some way, shape, or form in your own life. We all need to do more self-care. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So I got to tell you, it was so good to just connect before service. And I encourage you, get online about 10, what is it, 10, I'd get online. I personally get on much earlier, but I'd get on at 10:30 just because you can see everybody joining the screen before we start scrolling announcements. So I want to start with a story that I found. And it's a story about a group of junior high students. They're taking a geography class. And the teacher charged them with studying the 7 wonders of the world. And at the end of the section, he asked the students to list what they think are considered to be the present 7 wonders of the world. So through they broke them into groups, and there was various discussions and disagreements, but these are the 7 that got the most votes in that class. Number 1 was Egypt's Great Pyramids. Number 2 was India's Taj Mahal. 3, the Great Canyon. 4, the Panama Canal. 5, the Empire State Building. 6 was St. Peter's Basilica. And 7 was the Great Wall of China. Now, while gathering these notes and the votes, the teacher noticed that there was one girl that didn't turn her paper in. And so he asked the girl if she was having trouble with her list. And the girl said, yes, I am, a little bit. And I couldn't quite make up my mind, she said, because there were so many. And the teacher said, well, tell us what you have and maybe we can help you. The girl hesitated for a minute because she was on the shy side. And then she said, I think the 7 wonders of the world are 1, touch. Number 2, to taste. 3, to see. 4, to hear. 5, to feel. 6, to laugh. And 7, to love. Then the room was so full of silence, it was deafening. It was far too easy for us to look at the exploits of a human and refer to them as wonders, while we overlook all the gifts that God has given us within us. And as I look at that story, I was thinking about Ruby Ho's talk to all of you last week. And if you did not get to participate in that service or have not listened to it, I encourage you to go to our website or our YouTube channel and listen to his talk. He was talking a lot about aligning what we do with the Holy Spirit. And that alignment is based on joy. And when we are aligned with Spirit, Spirit will move us towards more healing. He listed 4 things: more healing, more forgiveness, more enlightenment, and more awakening. The majority of that junior high school class were aligned with things of the earth. Charles Fillmore would have called that sense consciousness, the things in the material realm of the world. That quiet little girl was aligned with Spirit and found the true 7 wonders of the world. You know, I just came back from Florida, and literally we were gone, let me think, probably 19 days. We drove, and we had some challenges on the way down, but isn't that life? But while we were down there, I visited with 2 different ministers. I actually met with them at their church property and had discussions with them. This was intentional on my part. And then another church, I was only able to visit with him over the phone. So out of these 3 ministers, 2 of them were unity ministers. Another one was a minister at a metaphysical church. And I want to talk to you about this because, boy, it sure has to do with my title. And the title today is Just for Today, Let's Wait. You know, because all 3 of these ministers are in Florida, and all 3 of them have been in the church building for Sunday service since the end of July. And I'm like, man, I'm so jealous, right? And they're talking about, I asked them about social distancing and how they're doing it and what's their protocols. And I was shocked to hear all 3 of these ministers say to me that they did not have any COVID outbreaks due to people being at church. And so there again, I'm like, man, I want to get back in church. I want to get back in our church. And I got to tell you, Florida's a little bit different animal than Ohio. In case you haven't listened to some of the news, their governor is pretty much open, where our governor is definitely more being held to some restrictions and guidelines. And you know, I read this, it says our greatest disability is fear. Our greatest strength is courage. Our greatest disability is fear. Our greatest strength is courage. And part of me was thinking, am I being held back by wanting us to get back in the church because of fear? And if I had enough courage, would I go ahead and say, let's open the doors? And I really had to do some prayerful meditation work on that. And to realize that is not where I'm coming from for our decision right now at Garden Park. Just for today, let's wait. Doesn't mean just for this year or just for the next 6 months. I don't even know if it'll be just for the next 3 months. But I do know just for today, let's wait. I had one minister that was so strongly saying to me, Kathy, I feel you need to get that church back in the building. Now. And again, I'm like, oh, I want to. I really want to. I want to do what they're doing down there in Florida. Right? Oh, they got their band, social distancing, and music and singing with masks on. I mean, everybody is adhering to the guidelines. And I'm like, oh boy, oh boy. Just for today, let's wait. And I started thinking about, we're in the season of Lent, and I've been gone for the last 2 Sundays. So I've not really been able to talk about that concept with all of you. But we are in almost the middle. I guess we are in the middle of Lent. And I want to just talk to you just a little bit about that because it's kind of got to do. Do you remember how many days are Lent? 40. There's 40 days in Lent, right? Yes, I know. Remember the finger exercise, right? So what does 40 mean in the Bible? 40 is mentioned quite a bit in the Bible, but I'll tell you some of the 40s that most of you are familiar with. There is the Noah and the great flood. Lasted how long? 40 days and 40 nights. Okay. I don't know if you know this one, but Goliath, remember the big giant of the Philistines? And he taunted the Israelites for 40 days before Goliath took him out with a slingshot. Then we have those Israelites who I talk about quite often, who wandered around for how long in the wilderness? 40 years. They wandered around the wilderness till they finally made it to the promised land. And then this whole thing with Lent was Jesus fasted for 40 days. So what is this 40 about? 40 is used in the Bible as a number, a metaphysical number of however long it takes for something to complete itself. It literally doesn't mean 40 years, 40 days. Now, I'm telling you, there's many more examples in here of 40s. Google it and you'll find them. 40 is however long it takes to complete something. People, we are in our 40 days of COVID. Whatever that means, however that is, however long it's going to take for us to get through it, we are in our 40 days, however long it takes to complete our learning until we get it. And I'm like, man, that makes sense. That's the whole process of waiting. But us human beings, we attach to the sense consciousness that I was talking about earlier, like the students in the junior high class. We attach to, I want to be back in the building. I need to hug. I need to sing. I want to take this stupid mask off. We attach to that instead of remembering however long it takes to complete this process. Just for today, let's wait. In Ecclesiastes, they even wrote a song about this from 3:1. It's chapter 3, verse 1. To everything there is a season and a time for every matter or purpose under what? Under heaven. Okay. Unity has 2 words. I'll say that again. To everything there is a season, a time for every matter or purpose under heaven. Unity has 2 words that mean the same thing. What are those 2 words? Divine order. Divine order. Just for today, let's wait, because divine order is established. It is taking place all the time. The problem for me is I struggle with trusting divine order because I want it to hurry up. I don't like this waiting 40 days. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of this family argument we have that's in Michael's family. I want it to be done. I want it to be healed. How can I claim divine order in that mess? My job as a spiritual being, aligning with the Holy Spirit, is to claim divine order in all things. In all things. You know, Wayne Dyer, I loved his teachings and his CDs and his books. He was talking about trusting divine order, and it was literally called alignment. How coincidental is that with Ruby and what I'm talking about today? And he says, think about all the people who share the stage with you as you move through your life. Can you affirm that everyone you need shows up and that they're perfect in every way for whatever needs you have at this time? Ugh! That's a hard one, isn't it? Everything and everybody is here because I need that. Many of us, I've heard you say, including me, I know that this COVID is here for a reason, to teach me and to teach our world something. I can say that and I mean that. But I'm having a hard time with this struggle with family and calling that divine order because it's so hurtful. Hearts get poked so easily. And when our hearts get poked, it's hard to trust divine order. Because who doesn't want to think divine order is airy-fairy, everything is kumbaya? Shouldn't that be divine order? Well, let's look at Jesus' journey. His entire journey was divine order leading to the resurrection, but he had to go through hell before the resurrection happened. And that's the same thing for us. It is the same thing for us. You know, where did I put that? I had found another saying in a book that I think was shared to me by Ron and Rhea while I was down in Florida. And let me see, where was it? I think it had to do with this part of our greatest disability is fear, our greatest strength is courage. I know what it was. It's talked about rock climbing. And so coincidental that yesterday I took my grandkids to the park, and in this park there was a cement rock fixture which encouraged kids to rock climb on it. Now, I'm telling you, I would not have done this. I couldn't see enough of the steps for the life of me. And the kids were both like trying to climb up it. And in something that Ron and Rhea shared with me was that in rock climbing, it's the smoothest surface that is the most treacherous. A rough, rocky wall is best for ascending the wall. If you want to rise up, don't fear the bumps. Turn every stone into a step. How metaphysical is that? Everything, especially the hard, rough steps in our life, are leading us to some form of ascension. But the problem is, it's when I don't trust divine order and I resist that this is divine order that I stay stuck. I stay stuck and I stare at the wall instead of moving to the next and know it's going to be rough, but it's going to get me to the higher plane, and it's going to get me to the higher plane. You know, Unity says when life throws you into disarray, you can have faith in the law of the universe. And that law is there is one presence and one power moving in and through us in divine and perfect order. That does not mean that we don't have pain. It does not mean that we don't have diagnoses. It does not mean that there is no death. We are here on the human plane, having a human experience, and that's going to involve some suffering. Jesus showed us through this whole way. I love it. The Bible is nothing but, to me, a story of how human consciousness can evolve. It is a roadmap if we follow it, but it's not an easy roadmap. It's going to have rocks and stones along the way. There is one power present in the universe, active in my life. And what is that power? We say it every week. God, the good omnipotence. God never leaves. Even when we experience a death of a loved one, or we experience crisis, God never leaves. And when we stay open to that divine order, beautiful things show up. And I am looking at some of you. I'm able to see all of you on this screen, and I see your heads going up and down. You know what I'm talking about. They may not be in the physical realm, but in the spiritual realm, our loved ones never leave. God never leaves. Ruby talked about it immensely last week. Holy Spirit is always, always with us. It never leaves. Tuning into it is the challenge. So, you know, Unity had something that they were talking about divine order on their website. And one of them was talking about planting seeds. And I've thought how appropriate for this time of year of, you know, trusting divine order is like planting seeds. Any of you planting a seed planter for a garden, for flowers, planting bulbs? Okay, you plant them in the ground, right? And then what? You trust that they're going to come up, don't you? Or how many of you go out there and take your little shovel and dig to see if it's happening? You do that, you're going to kill it, right? See, we do that in our own lives. It isn't moving fast enough. So I'm going to dig with resistance. And then, of course, it keeps showing up. So there's a metaphysical lesson there of planting seeds. Leave them be. Divine order is taking place underground. Divine order is taking place in your life. We get to choose whether we want to stare at the wall or whether we want to go ahead and climb it, because the rough stones are the ones that get us to our highest good. Every one of you on this screen has a story of rough stones in your life. Some of them have been majorly rough stones and rocks. But I'm telling you, I know this to be my truth, and I know it to be yours, that had you not had those rocks and stones in your life, you would not be on this screen in a Unity church right now, present, hearing the truth that's speaking to your heart. It's not my truth. It needs to be your truth. And if it's ringing true to you, then you are ascending through the Holy Spirit. So I want to leave you with our affirmation for the week, because I'm really liking ending with this, because I think this is something that all of us need to remember. It is the truth of you. Are you ready? I am a strong lantern of light. Therefore, I am no longer afraid of the dark. That darkness is those boulders or those resistance or the people that don't get along with us, the people that poke our hearts. I am a strong lantern of light. Therefore, I am no longer afraid of the dark. One more time. I am a strong lantern of light. Therefore, I am no longer afraid of the dark. And so it is. Namaste. The Christ light, that light in that lantern in me, truly sees and honors the lantern of light in each and every one of you. Namaste.